Avatar: Way of the Water, colloquially known as Avatar 2, was one of the biggest box office hits ever, dethroning even Avengers Endgame, as well as its predecessor, the first Avatar film, released back in 2010. Both movies, Avatar and its sequel, are praised by movie critics and fans alike for their stunning visuals and entertaining narrative, the former of which deserves a lot of praise as both movies are actually really gorgeous to look at. In fact, one could argue the film's greatest selling point is its visuals, and word of mouth got many to go watch the movie, probably including Langshimmerty Srinu. Srinu was with his younger brother, probably excited to watch the long-awaited sequel, but as I'm sure most would not expect by simply going to a movie theater, he died in the middle of his screening. Langshimmerty Srinu, a citizen of India and a local to Kankinada, a southern district of the Andhra Pradesh state, and where the incident took place, collapsed while a local screening of Avatar: Way of the Water. According to local media reports, after Srinu collapsed in the middle of the film, he was taken to the Pettapuram government hospital, where he was soon pronounced dead, survived only by his daughter and son. Director of Fortis Hospital Noida, Dr. Sanjeev Gera, would later comment on this case, explaining, "After COVID, which Srinu previously recovered from, there is a continuing inflammation in our blood vessels. Because of stress, increase in blood pressure like what happened in this case, arteries of the heart could have ruptured and that have caused the sudden cardiac arrest. According to medical professionals like Dr. Pradeep Kumar, a cardiac arrest could be the result of plaque rupture in the veins, which could in turn result in an arrhythmia due to excitement or an increase in stimuli. In other words, an increase in stress or excitement caused by some external force, such as a stunning 3D film like Avatar, could have caused Srinu to have a heart attack as a result of him not only struggling with the aftermath of COVID, but his heart unable to cope with the emotional/visual stimuli presented to him by the movie. Although, interestingly enough, this wouldn't be the first time someone would die of a heart attack unintentionally, caused by one of James Cameron's Avatar films. Back in 2010, during the first global release of Cameron's Avatar, a man in Taiwan would be found dead in a local theater during a screening of the movie. The 42-year-old Taiwanese man allegedly only made it halfway through the movie when his heart gave out. According to a medical report, the man had a history of high blood pressure, and the movie and intense stimuli from it triggered his symptoms. In short, he got too excited to the point that his heart couldn't take it, and he collapsed while watching the movie. As the internet adage goes, if I had a nickel for every time someone died of a heart attack while watching one of James Cameron's Avatar films, I would have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Bullets and Burgers, as one would derive from the name, is an establishment that not only serves as a burger joint, but a firing range as well. Corporate America, everybody. Anyhow, the Mixed Burger Joint and Firing Range was a well-known establishment in Phoenix, Arizona, and would be surprisingly accident-free for quite some time. That wasn't until a harrowing incident that would haunt the state in 2014. On August 25th, 2014, Charles Vaca, an instructor at the shooting range, would meet a tragic end at the hands of a 9-year-old girl visiting the establishment. The little girl, a young elementary school student, was visiting the firing range with her family, where she was being taught how to fire a gun, an Uzi, no less. While visiting Bullets and Burgers, the little girl was under the tutelage of instructor Charles Vaca. Unfortunately, she lost control of the Uzi mere seconds after pulling the trigger. The force of the gun was too much for the child to handle, and Vaca was accidentally caught in the crossfire, killing him instantly. After the whole ordeal went viral, the whole incident actually being caught on video, it sparked outrage. Many upset that a little girl was allowed to gain access to an Uzi so readily and easily. It sparked conversation into stronger gun control and legislation of the like. As for the victim's family, they filed a lawsuit against the establishment and held no ill will towards the little girl or her family. The location where their dad was working and the business that were combined to operate the shooting range, they believe were unsafe and dangerous, and they feel like they need to be accountable for their dad's death, said Mark Lambert of Fenner and Craig, which actually represents the family. They want these businesses to be held accountable. From their perspective, it's not right. It's not right that a little child, a 9-year-old, can be given a weapon that can shoot over 1,000 rounds a minute, Lambert would later add. In the end, the family still mourns the loss of Charles Vaca, and in an effort to prevent something like this from happening again, began a campaign to adjust gun legislation Titled The Heart Act, the goal of the campaign is to prevent another unwarranted loss of a loved one, like their beloved Charles Vaca. Believe it or not, that sound, as reported by many, triggers anxiety in quite a number of people, me included. As I'm sure you're aware, this daunting wail is the sound that plays as a part of the Amber Alert system. This sound plays whenever there's an imminent or immediate danger, and acts almost like a widespread public notice, or I suppose a call to action would be more accurate to say. The sound plays at the behest of the police as they urge the public to be on the lookout and aid in the recovery of a missing individual. The Amber Alert, which has a mnemonic that coincides with it, America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response, has successfully found and recovered 900 plus children. Although that is something to marvel at and to be commended, the creation of such a system owes its birth to the tragic case and murder of a 9-year-old girl, Amber Hagerman. On January 13, 1996, Amber Hagerman and her brother Ricky were out and about playing by the local market in Arlington, Texas, riding their bikes. After some time, Ricky wanted to return home, but Amber wanted to stay out a little longer, and so he rode home. Their mom immediately asked where Amber was, and Ricky had told her that she was still out playing by the market. Worried, she demanded that he go back and grab her. Ricky returned to the market parking lot, but his sister was nowhere to be found. The 9-year-old Amber had been abducted. Police were quickly dispatched. The only information they had to go off was a phone call that claimed a little girl had been abducted by an individual in a black pickup truck. The officers available were out and about searching the whole city and following every black pickup in sight, to no avail. A couple of days later, Amber's body had been found. After an autopsy report had been conducted, it was revealed that Amber had been alive for 48 hours before she was killed. The police didn't allow her mother to see the body, as Amber had been so badly damaged that she was almost unrecognizable. Before the discovery of the body, there was a thunderstorm, one that unfortunately washed away all evidence of the assault, and so the case went cold. At the time, information wasn't easily circulated to the public. Emergency reports on news stations would take hours and newspapers would have to wait a day or so for print. So the only ones truly looking for Amber were the police. And as a result, police knew they needed another outlet to quickly release information to the public to aid in search of a missing individual. However, it wouldn't be until a woman would call Arlington PD after Amber's murder, effectively chastising the department for not effectively releasing more details to the public in an effort to locate Amber. This prompted the police department and radio broadcast networks to develop a system now known today as the Amber Alert. Again, since its creation, over 900 children were returned safely to their respective homes, all thanks to the tragedy of Amber Hagerman. Sadly, Amber's killer may very well still be alive and kicking today, wandering the streets among us, the public, unbeknownst to their horrific crimes.